And we are live. Hey, everybody. I'm here with Will Fix. You guys haven't seen us since we were visiting each other down in Will Fix's area of southeastern Tennessee. But nonetheless, we're doing a collaboration once again. And how you doing, Will?
Man, I'm doing great. I miss you though, bro.
I miss you too, buddy. I'm
We
glad to
need to
be.
get you back here to Tennessee.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot on your guys' mind. And I thought, hey, Will has some fantastic perspectives, analogies in regards to what he feels Ripple can do in light of all the recent things that were shared from, as you see here, December, moving on. I mean, this whole thing of the delisting of Tether. But, Will, I mean, you told me on the phone the whole thing of your perspective of Ripple and RLUSD, because we know with Trump going into office, you mentioned there's no way he's going to do a CBDC. So would that create more demand for Ripple XRP? And if so, share.
Let me take a minute to tell you about this decent wallet promotion. Okay, so right now it's 44% off. But in addition to that, if you register, you could win the $50 airdrop of one of 5 coins. Let me show you how this is going to work. So let's say you purchase a wallet today. So you're going to get 44% off. It's $99 for one, or you're going to purchase 2 for $179. Benefit 2, $50 of a coin reward. So once you purchase, whether you buy 1 or 2, you go to register on January the 6th. Once you register, the first 1,000 are going to receive this airdrop. So once that's filled, you won't be able to register. So I would go UTC time, midnight on the 5th, and that's when I would register and get this $50 airdrop. What coin's it going to be? Well, it's one of 5. That's either going to be CTC, BBB, FIG, ELOB, or XAH. Go ahead and use the link in the description. Take advantage of this promotion. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Because what's the answer in the digital world? You know, if we don't have a CBDC currency with everything getting changed over, whole countries are going to CBDCs, and Trump having the opinion that a lot of us in the crypto world have, that in this space, that a CBDC, who wants the controls? You know, if you have a CBDC currency, then you have the ability, the government would have the ability to control how you spend it. They could say you have to spend it on this, you have to spend it on that, or you can't spend it, or you better spend it before this date, or it's gone. Well, if you did a CBDC for the whole country, isn't that what other countries would think? They're already upset from how we've controlled the US dollar with the SWIFT system. I mean, you know, we put sanctions on people and we're able to cut off the dollar in that manner. Well, if we had a CBDC currency, man, we could cut it off much easier and more specific, and completely. Just think of being able to freeze not just the flow of money, which is what we did with SWIFT, or seizing the money that's in the banks of international settlement, or whatever accounts the SWIFT system's attached to, the Vostro and Nostro accounts. But if you had a CBDC currency, and we're 10 years down the road, you could literally wipe out all of the money in a certain country if you decided to, because you would have that ability. Well, I don't think they trust us enough, since we've already played our hand with how we're going to control money with the SWIFT system. So a CBDC currency not only is just a bad idea for the citizens, but I don't think the world would appreciate it. You know, I don't think they would be, you know, just jolly on the spot. The enemies of our country, especially, they've already created whole other systems. You know, you have the BRICS nations that are already creating whole other payment systems, and lo and behold, they're using XRP, right? And then, but so what would be a solution? How are we going to digitize? We're going to have to digitize the dollar. Well, a stable coin. So here, RLUSD has come about, and they put regulations on it that say it has to be backed by a treasury. Well, man, that is a US dollar. So it's not just backed by a US dollar, it is a US dollar, man. The RLUSD is a digital dollar that does not have the government's control over it. So it looks like to me that would be the perfect solution, because now you have the whole world that could go ahead and use RLUSD, trusting Ripple, trusting that it's a company and not a government, and the ability to turn it off, turn it on, all it's not going to be exercised. It's not going to be done. It's a solution that probably they haven't announced, but wouldn't you think, man, that they've talked about this? Don't you think? I mean, we're not the first ones to realize this, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think we're the first ones at all. And, I mean, I know this is dating back to December 12th and whatnot, but I'd like to have it on people's screens where they can have something to reference. And where I'm going with this is, you know, this MiCA compliance and regulation. So we're now in 2025, and there is a strong demand to be in compliance, because we know that in order to get the clarity, you have to have proper regulations. So Ripple's stance, or where they're at with RLUSD, for me, when I see this whole thing about the delisting of Tether USDT stablecoin in Europe, and how Coinbase said that they're gonna have their stance and so on. There's going to be other, apparently, it's going to create a domino effect of, like, there'll be other ones that will delist it. Well, think about all the people that came into Bitcoin, BTC, with that pairing of Tether. There are so many different pairings, not just BTC, but like I could think of thousands of altcoins where you have that pairing. People say, the pairings create a sense of collateralization and so on. So if this is truly delisted, then we have RLUSD, a more sufficient network, because again, with Ripple, then to me that would drive up the demand, of course, for Ripple XRP substantially. And even what you see here, like, let me go down just a little bit. Talks about cryptocurrency exchanges again in Europe, and again, not just the whole thing of Coinbase, but Coinbase Germany and Coinbase Custody International will delist Tether, and 5 other stable coins. Already happened, basically, December 13th. And you also see this whole thing of potential relistings. So to me, the relistings would drive demand for these other particular ones. But we're now in, of course, January of 2025. But again, look what it says. I mean, you have the source from Algorand, which I think is a terrific project, by the way. But I mean, come on, everybody. Think of all of the pairings. That is tremendous volume. So if that shifts to Ripple, I mean, some people point out, the whole thing of the flip of the switch. Well, maybe there's more than one switch. Maybe this is, in my opinion, like, the liquidity shift, because there's a different dominant stablecoin.
Yes. Yes. And backed by U.S. treasuries. This is such an answer for the United States, because talk about having issues with, the dollar. This is a perfect solution for the United States. Our biggest commodity is the U.S. dollar. Our largest exported item is the U.S. dollar. So then we have to think of this. Think of the fees generated for a private company for the use of the dollar, and the XRP that's going to be burned. So there's going to be XRP used in payment, then there's going to be XRP burned. And if this takes root deeply in the world, man, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars of transactions. There's a thing on a dollar that it's used more than once, in a year, the same dollar. It's called velocity. The velocity of money is how many times that it's used over and over. I buy a gallon of gas with $5, and that $5 goes to the gas station, and a portion of that went to pay for the gas. Another portion went to the store. Then that gets started. It gets started all over. Then some of it's put in the pocket of the guy that's working there. Then he spends it again, and the velocity of money, the same money that will be used over and over and over and over and over, is just tons of burning XRP, which is very bullish. And even so much so, I don't think this RLUSD was not a consideration of XRP whenever they started. The considerations that they had were cross-border payments. Now they've added in smart contracts and all these other things. What do you think, Max, about this could turn into a lot of burning of tokens, couldn't it? It could be a lot of XRP getting burned.
Yeah, you're right. There would be a lot of that going on. But my other thing was, you mentioned the whole concept of like a dollar being changed, like a $5, goes to the gas station and lands in a different person's pocket, whoever's doing a transaction. Let's say the person spent $5 on a bag of chips, or and then a kid gets it for, I don't know, like cleaning up somebody's front yard or something. I would hope he get paid more than that. But my point is, there's a lot of people that is exchanging those bills. For some reason, when it comes to the land of crypto, I see these comments, and it's no knock on anybody, but like they always state this, and I'm sure you see it on your channels too. There's not enough money in the world for XRP to be at that high price value. Why are we limiting, back to what you're talking about, one transaction? Again, back to your analogy of the $5 bill.
Right.
So if we're talking about XRP, it's a different story, because kind of like when I cover quant, programmable money, right? So it's a different case. Like, we're not going to be burning literally fiat money, paper money. We should never do that, right? For one, it's a crime, it's a felony. But when it comes to XRP and whatnot, yeah, there's 100 billion coins, but man, from my knowledge and yours as well, to have some of these burns, I think, is very, very significant. And then again, more of that adoption. So is the key enabler of this crazy amount of future adoption, I guess, which is going to come here soon, with RLUSD, going to not only create a vast amount of liquidity come into the whole mix, but again, what people point out in the past, there's too many coins. You got to have a burn. Well, now we have all these pairings. So to me, that's
Right.
a lot of burning going on. I can't think of a better example of a perfect scenario of, like, how you would want to burn. An example, I'm into Shiba Inu, right? They are always talking about, like, we need a massive SHIB burn, right? Because there's trillions of those tokens. Well, we're talking about Ripple XRP here. So even if they took, in my opinion, like just 10% away from all that liquidity that you see dumping into Bitcoin and whatnot, I saw somebody put a analogy out there. He says that Ripple could become the crypto black hole, if you will, because of RLUSD. I don't know if you saw that analogy, Will, but it was a good example of, it's the new money would be put into Ripple because of RLUSD. And as we also know, that creates even that much more demand for the transactions. But back to what you were saying in regards to, Ripple XRP wasn't originally designed for this. But if you look at Stellar with USDC, you look at some of these other ones, it seems as though they put a lot of focus the last few years on this, because that was the only clarity there was. And what I mean by that is on stable coins. It was kind of like a backup plan. But now, with 2025 and, again, these mandates, we have, obviously the whole thing of MiCA, right? So to me, this is the year of institutional regulations and clarity and so on. So now we'll come full circle, no pun intended, where, yeah, we got the stable coins in place and whatnot, which drives the demand for the native tokens or coins. But I think it will come back full circle where, even examples with Stellars, like, XLM, that's the gas driver. XRP, that's the gas driver, but they're not slow technologies at all. So
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it looks like RLUSD. I mean, it would be hard for me to imagine it not being considered the US dollar.
yeah,
If I'm, Tether has, they're obviously going out because they're not under regulation. But did you know that they're also one of the largest holders of U.S. Treasuries? So they're partially backed. They just aren't completely backed. Um, and a lot of people didn't know that. I looked that up and found out. I was like, darn, I didn't know they had any treasuries whatsoever. I just thought they were, you know, blowing in the wind, so to speak. But they haven't met the guideline. They haven't met what they need to do. And as soon as people start getting rid of it, I mean, everybody's going to get rid of it. I had to change some of my trading platforms that I was using Tether in my 3Commons account, and I had to switch it, to something else because, who wants to just lose your money? Because Tether gets cut off and need to preempt those changes. RLUSD would have been my choice, but it's not a choice yet that I can have. And there's tons of people sitting there ready to, that Ripple's a trusted name. And what is it, the third coin now? We already passed Tether again. So it's the third asset by market cap. People want to use RLUSD and are excited about it.
I'm just excited about the whole thing of, it's adding more value to XRP and it's driving up the price. And at the
Yes.
end of the day, that's all people, for
Yes.
most of us, right? That's what we care about the most. So,
Right.
very cool to see that. But, for me, the mother lode is still on-demand liquidity, ODL, but we're not to that point yet of, mass scale institutional adoption. But any of this doesn't hurt a bit. Hey, listen, everybody, if you enjoy this content, give us a thumbs up for both myself and the one and only Will Fix. This will be shared on both platforms, both channels, on mine and also his, like I mentioned. And you can follow him over at Will Fix. And my channel is, of course, at Maximus Crypto, or you just look up Maximus Crypto all in one word and you'll find the channels. But nonetheless, we're going to do another collaboration here in a bit. We're going to talk about future high price XRP. We have a little bit that we have for you guys, so stay tuned for that. And as the saying goes, we'll see you guys on the next one.